Cockroach community, what is going on? I'm here with the one and only, the world famous, the diehard New York Mets fan, Dave Durante. Dave,
Are we
what's up,
just
buddy?
talking about the Mets the whole time? It's fine with me.
We might just be talking about the Mets the whole time. Yankees can't seem to win. I don't know what is
I'm
going
happy
on.
to talk about that too.
We cannot seem
We
to
took
win.
2 or 3 from you over the weekend, and I mean, there's no way we're gonna win that game, the third game. But yeah, Yankees are struggling. Mets are finally inching their way back up after a little bit of a struggle there in June. But loving where we're at right now.
Who's your favorite player on the Mets?
I love Lindor.
Me
I
too.
like the
Me
way he
too.
leads the team. He's just such a calming, consistent leader out there. And to me, that's what you need. I mean, you got the big bats for sure, but Lindor is the guy that kind of keeps everything together.
Yeah, it's funny because our house is a Yankee house, and my wife's parents are like diehard Yankee fans. But one of Camden's favorite players in baseball is Lindor.
It's hard
So
not to.
I know. So I'm waiting just to get him a Mets jersey, and I don't know if he'll be able to wear it over at the grandparents' house. But he loves Lindor. Same position.
Yeah, he's a shortstop too. Can love it. I was in New York a couple weeks ago, and I went to the Mets store because I'm doing this stupid. I don't know if people follow me on social, but
It's not stupid. I was just about to talk about that, but keep going.
so you can ask me what this fitness nonsense that Dave gets himself into, and it's Mets related this season. But I went into the store and I bought Sadie a Soto jersey because Soto was her nickname from her father growing
Get
up.
out of here.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah.
So she wanted a Soto jersey. She cares nothing about baseball.
Right.
But now she's suddenly a Soto fan because that was what my dad called me growing up. So I fortunately got Sadie to watch some games. How did Soto do today? Good, 3 for 5, 1 home run. It was a pretty good day. Yeah.
Three drop balls in the outfield, but he's doing all right. All right. You're a Mets fan. Is Soto worth that contract?
I mean, he's worth what people are willing to pay him, man. Is Ohtani worth $700 million?
I
We
think
won't
so.
know. We won't. Yeah, but I mean, you won't know. This is first 3 months of a 15-year contract. Who knows? What I will say is that he's turning it on now. It's hard to play in New York City. He showed that he could do it last year with the Yankees. I think he's a beast. He's 26 years old. He's young. And he mashes up there. Like, the dude just understands how to hit the ball.
He does.
And so is he going to be worth it? I don't know. But the city of New York, especially the people that like to wear this Mets on their this NY on their hat, love having him on the team. They are Soto fans in and out. And so from my perspective, Cohen did the right thing. You spend $750 million, and so far I'm happy with it.
All right, last question on the Mets and Yankees. Are Mets fans as obnoxious and crazy as Yankee fans? Because I've never been to a Mets stadium, but I've been to Yankee Stadium.
You never been to a Mets game before? I used to go to Yankees games growing up. It was always like our field trips. So I used to go to a lot of Yankee games growing up. But first, Citi Field is awesome.
Yeah, it looks great.
Citi Field, Shea Stadium back in the day was awesome, fun. It was a great field. But Citi Field is, it's replica of Ebbets from back in the day. There was some homage to that. You still got Jackie Robinson in the entryway there, and it's a beautiful, beautiful stadium. The food is amazing. I think most people will just complain that it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere there in Queens. But the 7 train's super easy to get to if you're not driving in. So from my perspective, it's convenient. If you're in the city, take the train there. It's a beautiful stadium, and it's awesome to watch a game in. So I've been to a bunch of games there, and I went to a World Series game in 2015. And I got to watch the only game that the Mets won against Kansas City.
Wow.
So we won Game 3 when Syndergaard was pitching. So I got to watch the Mets win a World Series game in 2015, which is awesome. But are Mets fans obnoxious? Yeah, hell yeah, they're obnoxious. They love their team. We're the redheaded stepchild of the New York baseball scene, but we believe that we got deep pockets now to be able to compete with the Yankees for the first time, maybe ever.
Yeah.
So things may be changing in New York.
I went to a Yankee playoff game, and I almost stopped being a Yankee fan because of the way fans were acting at the Yankee playoff game.
Really?
Like, I felt so... Like, there was Yankees versus Astros, and it was, I want to say 2 years ago. I went with Cam, and I was like, my God. Like, I felt so bad for people in Astro jerseys. Like, but it didn't matter. If they were dudes, if they were, like, daughters, if they were
No, I don't like
wives.
that.
It didn't matter. I'm like, this is insane. Like...
No.
This one group of people were getting on this family they had a family. There's Astros. There's like a daughter, and they were getting on the little girl. And I'm like,
That's awful.
yeah,
That's
it was
awful.
it was terrible.
That's normally Eagles fans that do that. That's what you get from the Philly fans and the Eagles fans. That's not right. No, I haven't seen that from Mets fans. But
Yeah, I almost stopped being a Yankees fan on that one day.
the one thing I will mention, this obnoxious thing, I hope people follow along with it, but I'm doing one strict freestanding handstand push-up for every Met win this year. So they just had they're playing right now. They're in the 9th inning, so they're about to have their 54th win of the season. So that means I have to do 54 handstand push-ups today. But today's a double header because it got rained out yesterday. So I may have to do 54, and 55 today. So I've had over 1,400 strict handstand push-ups so far this season.
Jeez.
So by the end of the season, if the Mets end up having a 100-plus win season, we could be looking at 10,000 handstand push-ups.
That's insane. Now, you've been tagging the Mets. Have you gotten any love from the Mets organization?
Not yet.
Not
They let me. Not yet. I'm hoping for it. I'm trying to put some feelers out there. I want to be able to do some handstand push-ups out on the mound at one of these games.
You know what I want to do, Dave? I'm making a note right here. So I don't know if I told you this story. I think I told you this. I don't know why I would not have told you this. But one of Camden's baseball teams is Cooperstown team. Nasty team. Out of like 94 teams, they finished 4th overall. They were amazing. The coach is one of the financial advisors for the owner of the Mets. Did I ever tell you that story?
Pretty good gig.
I never told you this?
Told me
I mean,
Guys can't.
so I'm going to reach out to him via text message, right? Not
Let
the
him
owner of the
know.
Mets. People listening, not the owner of the Mets. I don't have his number, but I'm going to reach out to the advisor who is a coach.
Let him know.
And I'm going to let him know what you're doing. And I'm going to see if we can get this bigger stage with the Mets.
Let's make it happen. I'll
Okay.
bang at handstand push-ups on the mound. I have no problem with that. But,
That would be awesome. That'd be awesome. All right. So freestanding handstand push-ups. Something I want to talk about is obviously what you really excel at, your genius is. It goes beyond just your ability to execute gymnastics, but it ties into your teaching and coaching of gymnastics. And, you know, before CrossFit, the willingness of people who weren't gymnasts to veer into gymnastics style movements and protocols wasn't as prevalent, right? And now through CrossFit, through the exposure of gymnastics, people are witnessing and seeing the beautiful orchestration of movement that's involved in gymnastics and how challenging it could be. And oftentimes you see people kind of shy away from working on gymnastics due to age, you know, not having experience through it. So I would love for you to talk to people, not so much like the athletes, right? Because, okay, we know that athletes inside the sport, they're going to work on all the gymnastic stuff. But what about like the everyday person? Like, how important is it for them to work on things that have carryover and crossover to, you know, at the end range, like your freestanding handstand push-ups? How is it important is it for these individuals to focus on that stuff?
So I think there's kind of like two directions you go. You have the people that come to you because they found an interest and think that gymnastics might be able to help them out, whether that's in a CrossFit type setting or working towards competitiveness. And then you have the other person that needs to be enticed or convinced that gymnastics-based movement is helpful for them for longevity purposes, right? So if we're convincing someone, or if you have someone come to you, it's a little easier, right? Because the convincing is already kind of done. But to me, it's about understanding the value that comes along with understanding how to move your body for whatever you want to go on to do. It's not super relevant to just application to becoming competent with gymnastics-based movements, but I always bring this up because I think it's relevant. USA Gymnastics has a slogan, and their slogan is "Begin here, go anywhere." And I love that. I love that idea that if you want to put your kid in gymnastics, if you want to do gymnastics, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be on a path to go to the Olympics. It means that the tools that you're going to learn in this environment are going to help you become a better baseball player or a better CrossFit athlete or whatever you want to do. And it comes down to basically what we teach, how we break down movement and how we break down skill development is meant to say, hey, you might not want to learn a strict freestanding handstand push-up, but the initiation and the foundation of what we're teaching you pattern-wise is going to give you the ability to apply it and become a more capable and better athlete in whatever you go on to do. And that goes into our phases a little bit, which I'm happy to go into if you think that's relevant.
Absolutely.
So the first phase, I think, and this is, again, Power Monkey's 4 phases of skill development. The first phase is something that everybody should be doing, no matter whether or not gymnastics is a priority for you, and has to do with creation of body shapes. Can I get my body to create the shape that I need for skill development? And, you know, those shapes in turn mean, can I create the pattern of throwing a baseball correctly? Does my shoulder move in the range of motion that's necessary to be able to create the whip action necessary to create some, you know, actual velocity on the ball? And these things are all generated by good body shape creations. First one is about being more mobile. Am I mobile enough to be able to create the shapes that I need? And the secondary component to a shape creation is core stability. And when we talk about core action, we're not just talking about what you can see in the mirror. It means everything that encompasses your midline. So those are two things that we emphasize endlessly, and we think that people should be doing on a regular daily basis to become more capable and confident athletes, not just for gymnastics, but like I said, for everything. Shape creation through more mobility on a daily basis and more core specific exercises.
So, you said something that I wrote down. You said a more capable athlete, like a more capable person. And I think that's so important for people to keep in mind, is the better they can understand the phases. Now, you touched upon phase one of shape creation and core stability movement patterns. And I almost feel like a very roadblock that people have around this is understanding like what to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, well, how can I put myself in some sort of program or work that can teach me to have better shape creation positions, be able to maintain and then build the strength there the proper way? Because oftentimes you see people who will be like, hey, okay, like we buy into the concept of needing better movement and understanding movement patterns and doing gymnastics more, right? But then the blockage is, well, where do I need to start to become successful, to put myself in a position to be safe, right? And then build upon that over time, or not even build upon it. Like they might have no desire to try to muscle up, but they still should learn how to put their body in proper positions and move the right way, because that's just going to help with everything else we do in life, from picking up kids to playing sports with our kids to no matter what it might be, right? And I think that's one of the biggest issues is, well, where they start and how they know what to do. And you spent a lot of time on building an app that can really help people with this. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so the Power Monkey Training app is something that I'm really proud of. I would say that for anyone that's looking to build an app from scratch, wouldn't do it again. It's a extremely labor-intensive, cost-intensive task to take on. There's probably other resources, but we started it so long ago and we put so much into it that it is something that we think is very unique at this point. It's not built on another platform. It's built specifically for our needs. And what it allows for is a very unique training experience for the athletes that we work with. We have assessment-based training plans, essentially. So if you want to learn a skill, we have over 50 plans now that we're constantly adding to from our gymnastics coaches. We have some weightlifting and other plans in there as well. Mm-hmm. But they're meant to be semi-individualized in the sense that every plan has a level associated with it. You take an assessment, it puts you into the level that's appropriate for your starting point. And even if you're in the same level, doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have the same journey as another person, because we have some little things that we tinker with on the back end that allow for unique experiences from person to person. So to me, it's an amazing resource if gymnastic skill building is something that's you're looking to do. Now, if you are just curious about starting points around that first phase, the one thing I would recommend and kind of guide people towards is our Core 365 plan. It's like, it was meant specifically to help answer that question. It's 5 to 10 minute daily core workouts that are meant to be bite-sized and applicable to any other program you're already running that you can just throw in and say, hey, here's my core workout. Power Monkey programmed it for me. And actually, we have a free core workout every single day. You don't even have to have one of the paid subscriptions. It comes free with the app. If you just create an account, you get a free daily core workout right there on the main page. That's just meant to kind of give you a starting point for understanding the importance of doing it on a regular basis. Now, we're also putting together a Mobility 365 plan that we're going to be unveiling soon that will go hand in hand with the core component. But the app itself is an incredible tool. We've had some real success with athletes from all levels, from person that has never hung from a bar before, getting their first pull-up, all the way to someone that wants to learn how to string muscle-ups together. So we have skill-building plans, and then we have volume plans as well. So if you're an athlete that's looking to go from 5 to 10 to 20 muscle-ups in a row, we have a plan around volume building for skill-specific training too, which is done in a really specific and targeted way as well.
So it almost sounds like your app has the ability to individualize the process for people. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, it was built that way. It was built with, the assessments being a really critical component, and each of the assessments have a strength assessment and a mobility assessment. So your journey will be different. So say you're very strong, but your mobility is really limited. The journey will be different. You'll be able to get some other mobility work in there according to what your needs are. So it was created with the idea of how can we be as individualized as possible with the limitations that we have with kind of the code writing that our developer kind of said, hey, we have to work within these parameters, but we want to still create as much of an individualized experience as we can.
Now, does the app work for people who are already on other programs or like want to follow their gym program? Meaning, is it like extensive amount of work, or how does that flow?
So it's a good question. It depends on what plan you're doing. Most of the plans will be written can supplement into other workouts. What we normally recommend when we get this question, we'll say, hey, there's a 10 to 15-minute warm up that's built into each day's workout. If you're doing something else, you can take the workout, the warm up out and just focus on the main working sets of what you're trying to get out of it. I'd say that if you're doing that and you want to do your general plan, you're in a gym and you're just doing regular workouts and you want to do this as a supplement, the workouts will normally take between 30 and 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So you decide whether or not, that's a doable amount of work. Some of that can be condensed once you understand the workouts and you understand what the exercises look like. It can probably be condensed to about 20 to 30 minutes, but I wouldn't say that you'll probably be rushing if you end up doing it that quickly.
Yeah. Okay, so Dave, touch on phase 2, 3, and 4.
Sure. So phase 2, I think, is probably the most important phase and the one that most people miss out on the most. It's static holds and controlled movement. This is where in the gymnastics world we build our stability, where we build our strength, where we slow things down. We see this endlessly in the weightlifting world, and people, for whatever reason, are much more interested and able to do it when it comes to barbell work, where they're doing their pause and their tempo squats and overhead positioning, and they're willing and able to do it with their barbell, but I don't see nearly enough of them. It's something we've been preaching from endlessly, that for your push and pull work and your skill development, they need to be slowing things down. And so we spend a lot of time on teaching people positional work. Even yesterday, put up a post around straight arm positional work and doing straight arm static hold in isometrics, where how long can you hang from a bar? How long can you do a handstand? How long can you be in a plank? How long can you, 4 positions, be in support on something static? And that's such an important piece of getting the connective tissue prepped for your straight arm work, getting the shoulder stabilized for what you're going to be doing when you're actually applying it in workouts. And if you go to gymnastics gym, it's where most gyms are spending their time, especially from a strength building perspective. What we end up seeing is that it's a missed step and people end up jumping right to phase 3, which I think needs further explanation as well, because phase 3 needs to be done and needs to be done in a particular way. It's dynamic action, right? Using momentum, kipping, swinging in conjunction with phase 2, not working around phase 2, which is where we most see people making a mistake. There's kind of 2 thoughts to that. Phase 3 is about understanding the mechanics that come along with swinging, right? So you have like the calisthenics world that shies away from anything that uses dynamic action. They say you're cheating if you're kipping. It's not a strict base movement. And then you have the people that skip phase 2 to go right to phase 3 because they lack the strength and they just say, well, if I just kip through this, I can work around the strength that I lack. From a gymnastics perspective, and this is again purely from the world that I come from with artistic gymnastics, swinging is an important component to skill development. And what we need to understand is that the mechanics of swinging, without any pull, without any application to bar muscle ups or kipping muscle ups or whatever it might be, needs to be worked on individually. So you understand how to maximize the potential of the swinging action in and of itself. So we need to understand, what are your limitations in your backswing? Is it your upper back? Is your underarm soft tissue limiting you from being able to create a uniform good swing? A swing should act like a slingshot. It should basically allow you to do things more efficiently, more technically sound for longer periods of time. But if you're putting unnecessary stress in areas because you've never spent time on just the swing mechanics, it's becoming a detriment more than it is a benefit. So, I will say, one, is swinging and kipping a part of the sport? When it comes to hanging movements, yes. If you want to talk about kipping handstand push-ups, that's a different conversation. But when it comes to kipping from bar, from ring, it's absolutely a part of the equation. It just needs to be a standalone piece before you can apply it to any pull mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where most people make a mistake in terms of how swings are applied to workouts.
Absolutely. Yeah, that sounds like my entire first 5 years of CrossFit training. I've never done a muscle before, but let me just try and do kipping muscle ups as much as I can in workouts.
Yeah, and that's where most people are. I mean, maybe it's changing a little bit now, but I still am doing courses almost every weekend. I'm teaching, and it's still a conversation that I have to have with the people that participate. And that's not just members. That's also coaches and owners. That's also people that I'm surprised, and maybe it's a benefit for me because this is my wheelhouse and where I enjoy teaching, but it's something that has not been as kind of flowed into the community as strongly as we would like to see it be. It needs to be something that we talk about and is understood and applied a little bit more effectively.
I can't harp on that enough. I definitely want you to get to phase 4. But, as you're talking, it's like I had all these thoughts running through my head, and I'm going to kind of like jump into one thing and then come back to phase 4. And then I want to re-tackle what I'm about to jump into after you go through phase 4. It's like there's so much that goes into the things you just talked about with positions, and then into, like the static holds, and then the art of swinging. And you look at it from the world of gymnastics, and to me, it's like you can't truly understand that and understand how to progress it unless you entrench yourself in that world. And I'll kind of get what I'm saying in a second, but it's like you have the app, which to me, I think every single person, unless you spent years with inside the gymnastics world, you should be on the app. Even as coaches, if you're like, hey, like I have an athlete I'm trying to put together, I need them to get better at like this. Cool, run them through the app. Like utilize that, because I look at like every other sport you look at. If you're thinking about weightlifting, right, and the snatch technique, you look at people who've gotten so much better of coaching that over the years. Like, okay, yeah, I got to work on their absolute strength. I got to then focus on positions and positional work and static holds and the overhead position, right? Okay, now from there we'll start getting into the snatch work. It's like that sequence of your phase 1 through 4, and we do it everything else. And I look at it like even baseball swinging. I probably spent the last 12 years because my son like entrenched in how to swing a baseball bat and picking it out. And only now can I slightly see things after like 8 years of understanding like, hip connection, foot positioning, low parameters, where the hands should be, like the bat position, the barrel head. Like there's so many of these things. I'm like, how in the world can you expect to get something better unless you spend years in it? And it relates back to gymnastics. And what I'm going to touch on first, which we're going to get back into, is going to be the Power Monkey camp. As far as like, if you haven't spent years entrenched in the world, to me, like that's a place I think everybody should start. Me being there since day one, of just being surrounded by people like yourself and Duke and DeFreitas and like all these Olympians, all these amazing coaches in gymnastics and rowing and weightlifting and every other spectrum that we have, to spend hours and hours and hours to kind of give you that foundation. And we're going to come back to that later, but it's just kind of like what was running through my head as you're talking.
Yeah.
All right, phase 4.
Phase 4 is the culmination of 1 through 3. So it's creation of sequences, complexes, and routines. So it's understanding how to take a single skill and combine it effortlessly into the next skill, So if you're watching an Olympic gymnast, it's them putting a routine together on high bar, rings, pommel horns, uneven bars, whatever it might be, and understanding how to connect movements seamlessly. So you might see this with a CrossFit Games athlete doing a bar sequence, whatever it might be, or something on rings. But it is understanding how one skill flows into the next. And so this is understanding of where the movement patterns can be built from. So it's not just one repetitive action, but understanding how to change on a dime and go from one movement pattern to the next seamlessly, effortlessly, and on the gymnastics side, doing it artistically, right? Making it look a certain way. So yeah, that's the culmination, and being able to actually express it in the highest form.
Now, the way your app is developed with the assessments and the individualization of the AI components, does it take these 4 phases, or how does it take these 4 phases into account with individuals? Like, let's just say I start the app now and I go through my assessment. Is it going to read that in? And if I do it again in like a year, 2 years, it will reassess of where I should be?
So the best way to understand it is what we've put together as our gymnastics GPP plan is called Monkey Method. And that's basically the starting point. If you want to work on a specific skill, you already know that you want to learn a pull-up, we have the plan that's right for you. But if you're just like, I want to incorporate gymnastics into my training, and I want to become better at gymnastics, approach to that is called Monkey Method. And it basically has been written from scratch to take these phases into account. So it's actually very in-depth, probably even more in-depth than it needs to be, but it's extremely in-depth. So there are 3 different main blocks. There's the phases. So you have a training block around shapes. So if you go into the app, you're going to see shape Monkey Method. Then you're going to see strength Monkey Method, and you're going to see dynamic. And those are phases 1, 2, 3. Now, within that, we have a beginner, intermediate, and advanced version of all 3 of those. And within each of those, we have different levels that you will assess based on your starting point.
Wow.
So you can spend years working through Monkey Method and become really proficient in just the strength side, just on phase 2. If you start out at beginner level 1 strength, you can work through 3 years worth of training just on that one phase that we've built out. And so we've done it in a way that if you get in there for the first time and you're unsure where to go, you would start with shapes, then you would work to strength, and you would work to dynamic. But I would highly recommend checking it out. It's a very well thought out plan that myself and Colin, who obviously you know really well, put together years ago, and we've been tinkering with it, and it is what it is now because of the amount of time we put into it over the years.
That's amazing. So can you go like beginning level shape, beginning level strength, beginning level dynamic, or do you
Yeah.
recommend? Okay, so you can do something like that.
You can. It's just a lot of time. Each of the plans, the advanced is upwards of 6 days a week of training. The other levels are all 3 days a week. And each of the sessions is around 45 minutes. They
Mm-hmm.
can be upwards of an hour depending on how much time you're spending and how much rest you're taking. But they're meant to be standalone workouts. So if you want to do shapes dynamic, shape strength dynamic altogether, that's a pretty heavy load. I would recommend kind of parsing it out and doing it in pieces.
Yeah, that's all fascinating. So, all right, so the app, people listening, they want to get on the app, they want to go through and experience it. Where's the best place for them to
Yeah,
find and
awesome.
get
I
started?
appreciate that. You have to go to the website first. Go to powermonkeyfitness.com, and right at the top header, you'll see the Power Monkey Training app. It'll direct you to create an account. You have to create an account on the website, and then from there, you can download it in iOS or Android and use the same login from there, and just either subscribe with a free account, which gives you access, like we talked about, to the free core workout every day. You'll also get access to our entire video database, which is in there and searchable. It has over 1,200, maybe more than that, exercise at this point that we're constantly adding to. So any exercise and progression that you might want with handstands is searchable and free in there. It's an awesome in-hand resource on the gymnastics side of things. And you'll also get a free week of the muscle up plan, the kipping muscle up plan, just to see how the assessment works, what the structure is of the actual plans. And then if you want to get more in depth with them, you have to do the premium subscription.
I love it. Okay, I paused. I feel like I had something else I wanted to ask, but I want to jump into camp.
Sure.
So, yeah, so camp is something that I love. It's something I've been part of since the first one. And the experience at camp is very challenging to explain unless people go there. You know, it's like one of those things where it's like okay, I'm in the woods in Tennessee surrounded by people, and we're doing some gymnastics and weightlifting and hanging out, and people say it's like a family. You know, we say all that stuff, and you're not going to really appreciate and understand it, in my opinion, unless you go there and you do it. So what I want to touch on is the education and impact that you get from camp. I still think it is completely, what's the word I'm looking for? Undercharged for what you do and what you get. You know, like the price that you pay for an entire week, I mean, everything you get there, to me is like dramatically undercharged.
Yep.
You don't have exposure to gymnastics. You don't have enough exposure to weightlifting. You have to go to, in my opinion, to Power Monkey Camp. On top of all the lectures that we give, and you know, probably one of the greatest programming lectures of all time, I think, occurs at Power Monkey Camp as well. but I want you to talk about camp, like more so. Like, let's talk about like the origin story and how it's continued to grow and evolve, and just the impact that it has on people from learning, and also to touch on, is this something that's for individuals that have experience with gymnastics and weightlifting, or can it be for people who have zero experience but want to get into it and they're 55 years old or 60 years old or 23 years old?
So camp is like my third child. I have two little baby girls, and I have Power Monkey Camp, and I'm extremely proud of Power Monkey is going to be a teenager this year. It's going to turning 13 soon enough.
Crazy times.
I know. We've been doing it for as long as we have at this point. And the biggest shock to me is that more of the community that we work within so regularly still doesn't know that Power Monkey exists or what really Power Monkey Camp is. And for years, I was explaining it as an incredible informational week. Like, you come to camp and we've brought in incredible experts in all of these different verticals: gymnastics, weightlifting, rowing, kettlebell training, jump rope training, do lectures on nutrition and programming and mental training and sleep optimization and adaptive training. Like, just the gamut of different topics that you can become in contact with an expert on is very unique. And that's what we were pitching, right? Hey, come for the information. And I still think it's top notch. I still think it's something from an educational standpoint that you're not going to find in too many places. What I didn't expect, and what camp has really turned into, is a life-changing event, an experience beyond information. And that's the part that happened purely organically from the people that attend, the staff that we have, and the amount of care and love that everyone has for their own individual specialty, but also for each other and for the people that attend. And so there's a reason why I tell the story all the time from the first camp when we had like nobody attend. we had more coaches than we did participants. And we're like, we've lost a shit ton of money. But when people were getting on the bus to go home, everybody was crying. And I was like, I can't believe people are crying after a week being together. And it told me that there's some impactful things that can happen interaction wise and on the human side of things when people are having meals together for an entire week, where they're less often on their cell phones, where they're bunking up together in cabins and, understanding a little bit more in depth about where people come from and some of the things that brought them out to Power Monkey Camp beyond just wanting to learn a handstand. And those things just happen completely organically that I'm incredibly grateful for. I wouldn't even say thankful for. Like I had an idea to say, let's create a community around this. No, that wasn't the initial intention. It just happened naturally. And I'm just so grateful and thankful for the people that came initially, believed in it like yourself, and have continued to help camp be what I think is like a pillar in our community around education, yes, but around a way for us to interact no matter what your background is and what your beliefs are. This is a place where you're going to feel at home and you're going to feel like I need to come back. It's one of the reasons why we have such a high rate of return campers as well. It's a really special place.
Yeah. Yeah, BJ, who, for listeners who haven't been at Power Monkey Camp, he takes care of the campgrounds, and, he and his...
And Osh. Can't forget about Osh's wife.
No, like, they're two of the greatest people in the world, but something that BJ always says when we get there is, welcome home.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And it's exactly what camp feels like. Now, Dave, what about someone who has interest in camp? And there's going to be two parts to this. One, the act of bunking up with people might kind of like throw them off. The second one is they have no background in fitness or no background in like gymnastics, moving a barbell. Is this still something for them? Because I know that's got to be on a lot of people's minds.
Yeah, so I would say on the sleeping arrangement side, for the most part, they're cabins. Like you're sleeping with probably maximum 5 to 6 people per cabin. They're pretty spacious. They're meant for many, many more people than that, but we keep it to, a relatively manageable amount per room. You get to meet people from all over the world. It very much is a camp setting, so we try to prepare people for that as much as possible. However, we do have updated and individual and semi-private and private cabins available. So if you want to come with just your significant other, we have, queen beds that you have your own ensuite, and it's really nicely set up like hotel style for an upcharge to be able to experience camp that way. And we have a lot of people that have started to take advantage of that. So you can kind of experience camp depending on what your needs are and maybe what your budget allows for as well. I know you mentioned, camp is $2,500 for the week. That's meals. We didn't even talk about the food yet. And the food is phenomenal, like really, really good food. Katie from Rosie Joe Meals makes just absolutely incredible food all week and takes care of basically 150 people's different dietary needs, which is unbelievable.
Right.
But then you get your training and you get your lodging. So for an entire week, 6 nights, 7 days, we are undercharging, but we want to make it accessible to people.
Yeah. And I'll pause you 1 second. Just for people listening who maybe haven't been to seminars or like going to gigs, just for a reference point, a 2-day gig or 2-day seminar, Saturday and Sunday, from like a 9 to 3 or 9 to 4 situation with no food, no lodging, will probably run you anywhere from, depending on the type and who the person is, $1,000 to $1,500. Right? Sometimes you might even pay upwards of close to $2,000 for a 2-day thing. This is so when I said underpriced, this is $2,500 for an entire week, and essentially like 9 to 9. It's like 9 a.m. we get started roughly, and we finish probably about 9:30 at night, and complete exposure to the best coaches in the world. Like that to me is where every time they got $2,500, I'm like, this is insanely. It's insane what people get. But go ahead.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and we've tried to keep it that way because we want people to be able to experience it. We don't make a ton on camp financially, but we find it to be a worthwhile thing to continue to pour our hearts into, and we think it's something that is necessary for all of our well-being to continue to be around. The other thing I will say that's unique about camp, like you can go to a weekend seminar and you can go and learn from experts and, sit in a room and sit for a lecture for 2 hours, 90 minutes and get an incredible informational session. Then you can move to another room and get an incredible informational session. And you can do that over the course of a weekend. Absolutely. What you will get at camp is a through line, meaning we have worked together for so long with our individual coaches that our topics all intertwine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a better gymnastics coach, and my gymnastics content has changed over the years because of what I've learned from Jay and from Chad and from Mike and from Chris and from Rika and from all of the other coaches and the PTs that we work with, so that there is a consistent through line from station to station. It's a cohesive experience. They're not individualized. If you take one session out and just do it as a standalone piece, it's not as impactful as it is with the other stations because they are meant to build upon each other. And so camp, because of the way that it was built, creates more of a unique experience in terms of how the sessions are rather than being standalone sessions, which I think is sometimes undersold but has a ton of value. Yeah.
Yeah. I think too, like what people need to realize is you have these coaches, yourself, Mike Cerebus, Duke, all these individuals. I'm just kind of throwing names out, but who might charge, I don't know, 100 to, I don't know, $250 an hour, $300 an hour, depending on where you are, right? For like a session, you go to camp, you're spending 2 hours with them inside your group, but then there's moments in the day, every single day, to walk up and just ask questions. Hey,
Oh, yeah.
can you check out, Dave, can you check out my handstand walk, my handstand push-ups, maybe give me a few pointers? And you get this individualized attention worked into the camp from every single coach that's there. To me, like that is like, every time I go to camp, like camp to me, I don't travel anymore. Like I used to travel a lot. Like I don't travel anymore except for Power Monkey Camp. I'm like, all right, I'm going to camp. Like the whole family knows, my wife knows. And even for myself, who's been there for every single year, who's been in the fitness industry for, I don't know, 25 years, like I learned so much every single time because of the conversations and the one-on-one talks that I have with the other coaches there, that it's such an invaluable, that's the right word, invaluable experience to me still as a coach going back.
Can I ask you a question? Because
Yeah.
this is something that we got to, and just from an owner perspective, because one of the things that we struggle with that I want to get out to the population of gym owners and coaches out there that say, I can't take off a week from work to go out to vacation in Tennessee because I need to work. We're trying to tell people that this will help you become a better coach, a better owner, and become capable of retaining and creating a better product for your customers. From a gym owner perspective, would you say that that is an accurate statement, that if you're a gym owner or a coach, there is value in terms of what you can bring back to your community that maybe the gym down the street doesn't have from coming to camp?
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think, and for the gym owners out there listening, like, I get it. Like, I'm in your boat. I've owned a gym for 20 years, and every single time I travel, I'm like, ooh, man, like, step away from the gym. Like, that's going to be hard. To continue to grow yourself as an owner and as a coach and to elevate your gym, you have to put yourself in these experiences at Power Monkey Camp to have this exposure to everybody, because you're going to come back with so much more knowledge, and you can have conversations with everybody else, but hey, how can I apply this to my gym? How can I take this and work this into my community? Dave, this handstand work on shapes and positions and swinging, how have you had success doing this with a 10 or 12 or 15 person class? And Jay, you've owned a gym for 20 years. How do you input the Power Monkey methodology and the stuff they do into your class programming? Like, you can get so much stuff personalized for you that your ability, that if taking off the week is going to give back to your community and members, in my opinion, tenfold. So I know it can be stressful for gym owners, but it's something that I 100% feel that they should be trying to do and figure out how to get done.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's one of the things that we definitely are trying to stress and bring out more people within that part of the community. You mentioned, the everyday person who just started and like, never picked up a barbell, never got inverted. Are they going to find a home at Power Monkey Camp too? I think it's sometimes challenging for us from a marketing standpoint. You see some of the guest athletes that we've had on the promotional materials, and you see Frazier and Katrin and these other incredible athletes that have come through camp and are beasts and shit. If they're there, that means I shouldn't be there. It's not for me. Those are just guests. Those athletes are there to participate and have fun and, add obviously a really cool component to shed light on their experience at the top of the pinnacle of what it means to be competitive in this space. However, we've structured camp for the beginner and intermediate level athlete, and we've had people from 16 all the way to mid 80s, people that have never gotten inverted before, people have never picked up a barbell, people that have never done CrossFit, people that have no interest in any of these things, leaving saying, I can't wait to jump into Dave Newman's, jump rope sessions now because I've fallen in love with jump rope training. And so I would highly encourage you, if you're on the fence and are unsure if you're an athlete that's capable of having the chops from an athletic standpoint, you will absolutely fit in perfectly at camp. And it was structured in a way that you'll feel at home.
What's the oldest person they've had at camp?
84.
84 years
Yeah.
old.
Yeah. Selma. We got to give a shout out to Selma.
Yeah.
Linda Elston's mom. Linda
That's
Elston.
right. Yep. And she came like 3 times, right? She came
Twice,
more than
I
once.
think.
Twice.
I think Selma came twice, and she's a legend at Power Monkey Camp. She's amazing. We love her. Just incredible. I think many of us want to be Selma when we grow up. And then her daughter, Linda Elston, who's CrossFit Games Masters podium winner.
Yep.
One of the most incredible
Stud.
athletes we've ever met, who's been to camp many, many times over the years and big part of the Power Monkey family.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, just to not to beat a dead horse, but to touch on what Dave was talking about is if you've never had experience with getting inverted, hanging out rings, swinging, lifting a barbell, there's still a place and a strong place for you at Power Monkey Camp. And I highly suggest and recommend that everybody look into it and try to get out there because it's just going to elevate. I think it elevates your life experience. I think it elevates your outlook on things, and it kind of like catapults you into moving forward into this what might be a new world with inside your own fitness and longevity.
Yeah. Thank you, Jay. I'll just say one more thing about it. The facility is pretty awesome. It's 150-acre campus. We have a 32-acre lake. We have 5 miles of running trails. We have a ropes course with a giant swing over the lake. We have 50,000 square foot of gym space across 4 gyms. We built a new gym last year. That's awesome. And so it's the type of environment where you're going to get treated like an elite athlete. And you're going to get treated even if you're someone that doesn't come from a high-level training background. To create, many of us lived at the Olympic training centers, and we wanted to try to create an environment where you felt like an elite athlete, even if you didn't grow up like one. And you get to be like an elite athlete for a week and get treated that way and get exposed to elite training in an environment that's very welcoming. So the facility, the food, the coaches, you won't find a better place. Like we have a money back guarantee. If you come to camp and you don't find the first day to be up to your liking, we'll give you your money back after that first day. But you got to come to camp and at least attend one day. And if you
For
don't
real?
Yeah.
I never knew you guys had that.
Yep.
All right. That's strong conviction right there.
Yeah.
So, okay, so people are curious about camp. Where can they read more information, whether it's just kind of what's someone looking for, like reviews, comments, sign up, contact? Sure. Can they speak to somebody about it if they have questions?
Yeah, so the easiest way just to kind of find out about camp, just go to powermonkeycamp.com, like all the dates for upcoming camps. We do one in the fall, one in the spring. The next one is going to be September 21st to September 27th. We still have spots available for that. And then unveiled the dates for 2026 for spring. That's going to be April 20th to May 2nd. So those dates are already available and ready to go for purchase. We do have a sale going on, the early bird going on for spring camp. That's going to be up at the beginning of August. So if you're interested and kind of on the fence, this will be the best price for spring camp. But if you do have questions that you want answered individually, reach out to us. I would say either email me, dave@powermonkeyfitness.com, or Sadie at powermonkeyfitness.com, my wife who's in charge of customer interaction and dealing with customers leading up to camp. She'll be able to set up a call with you and we'll walk through any questions that might be individualized. So we do that a lot. People call quite a bit asking, hey, like, I don't know about my diet. I have celiacs and I can't have any gluten. What's the situation with that? Or I have a CPAP machine and I was going to keep people up in the room. What do I have to do if I have sleeping? So if there's anything that might be a deterrent or a question or comment, call us, reach out. We want to make sure that it's an easy enough way to get in contact with us.
Awesome. I love it. All right, Dave, in closing, anything you want to leave the listeners with in regards to camp, app, training, gymnastics?
That's it. Come find us. I think if you ever work with somebody with Power Monkey, you know that we really love doing this and that a first touch point with us means that you're going to be part of the Power Monkey family for the rest of as long as we'll be around. And so we really love people who have fallen in love with our individual sports. We want to see those things continue to grow. So reach out to us, send us a DM on Instagram or email us. We're happy to work on any of those things. I will say that if anyone is going to Albany for the CrossFit Games, I'll be at Avitas Fitness doing some individual sessions to raise money for our nonprofit, which is our scholarship program to bring more people out to camp. So if you want to work with me, check out our pages for international events that we have coming up, retreat, those kind of things. We're always somewhere around the world doing something interesting. So if you can't come to a camp, want to work with us, there are ways to do it. But yeah, we just want to be here as a resource. And like I said, it's something we absolutely love doing. It's not a chore for us. It really is our life's passion. So don't be shy about reaching out.
Awesome. And I hope to see you guys all at the next Power Monkey camp, and also check out the Power Monkey app as well. Two things that are completely valuable pieces for all coaches and athletes. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. As always, check out our podcast on the Coach RX Coaching Podcast and all the other coaches that are there, and let us know if you have any questions. Bye, guys.